What's a telltale sign two people are having a secret relationship with each other? I was at a barbecue with dozens of people. A young ridiculously beautiful married couple was there. The wife was pregnant. They brought their short, squat, funny man roommate with them. At some point funny man and pregnant wife are on opposite sides of the kitchen and I caught a glance between them, no more than a blink of an eye. It was the only interaction they had all night. In that instant I have never been more sure two people were wrestling. Told my girlfriend those two are smashing. She told me to stop being a creep. Sure enough 6 months later everyone finds out they're wrestling and funny man is the dad. My boyfriend asked for a paternity test for our child. As soon as the results come and show he is the father, I'm leaving him. I'm a new mom to a baby bove who is my pride and joy, and though it's been a roller coaster adjusting to taking care of a baby, the past few months have been great, tiring but great. I have a boyfriend of 3 years who is the first person I have ever loved and we were doing great as both new parents and partners. Friday he came home and he asked me for a paternity test. Just like that, it was completely out of the blue. I'm a different race from him but our child, apart from the skin tone, is literally his mirror image from pictures of him when he was a baby. I was stunned when he asked and his reasons were that he had to be sure he was the father. All I remember as he was speaking is just immediately feeling pain. The man I love doesn't trust me. He would actually believe that I would wrestle someone else, cheat on him, and then try to pass off their baby as his. I have never given him reason to think I would cheat on him. After thinking for a couple of days I'm going to allow him this paternity test because I have nothing to hide. Once it's proven that he's the father, I'm ending it. I'm leaving the same day and I am going to try my best to be a cooperative co-parent with him. What is the most effed up thing a person you know has done? My uncle is a real piece of shit. The scummiest human being I believe I will ever know. The most effed up thing he's done is actually a cycle that he's repeated too many times: start a family, then run. He'll convincing these women he's a good guy, has changed or was in the wrong place, wrong time or whatever, gets them pregnant, and then leaves once the baby is out. He's always short of money, so before he leaves he would manipulate and rob family. He stole my dad's identity and took a business loan with his first son. Bro has been in and out of jail his whole life, and I wish that fucker would just sit in there and rot. Every couple of years I have strangers reaching out saying they're part of Aaron's family and they want to meet their extended family, and we're like, so you hate Aaron? Yeah, us the fuck too. Welcome to the family. Police officers of Reddit: who's the smartest criminal you've ever encountered? The story goes like this: a homeowner walks out one morning to drive to work only to find his car missing. He reports the car stolen to the police. A few days later his car is sitting back in front of his house. When he gets inside he finds a note. It was an apology that said the thief was in dire need of quick transportation and so he borrowed the first car he found with the keys inside. The writer noticed the sticker on the car for the local sports team, and just so there were no hard feelings he left 4 tickets to an upcoming game in the glove box for the homeowner and his family. So the homeowner and his family attend the game, but when they return home they find the house has been ransacked and all items of value are gone. What is the scariest or creepiest theory you know about? Okay, this one is rough, so please bear with me. So the common time travel question is, would you go back and kill baby Hitler? Well, imagine if that was you. To us in the current timeline you would be a hero that killed someone truly evil before they had chance to corrupt or endanger anyone, but to the people of the time you were a monster, a baby killer. They couldn't exactly explain to people, I was sent from the future to kill this baby to save hundreds of millions of lives. No one would believe him and would just assume he was some nutcase, or maybe they're not allowed to tell anyone as per the agreement with the future government? It makes you wonder all the people through time that have been called monsters for killing babies. What if they were just heroes from the future saving us all? What dark secret are you hiding from everyone? When I was young I was walking home with my dog from a house around the block when he cut the corner and walked diagonally through the yard of this super mean old lady who lived at the end of our street. She was in her yard at the time tending to these really fancy looking rose bushes she had growing. My dog was a very friendly golden retriever who didn't even come near her and certainly didn't do anything threatening, but she sprayed the fuck out of him with some kind of insecticide or other chemical she was using on her roses. I ran back home with the dog and hosed him off. He coughed a bunch but seemed otherwise fine. I didn't tell my parents because somehow I thought I was going to get into trouble for letting the dog walk in her yard. I'm glad I didn't tell them, because I decided that night to sneak downstairs, out the half-bath window, and down the street to her yard where I cut down every goddamn rose bush I could get my hands on. Doctors, what was the best excuse you've heard for someone having something stuck in their ass? Had a guy with a screwdriver up their handle first. He was honest, said the wife wanted to try something new. Why the screwdriver? Something shaped like a sausage would have been gay. I always thought that was a real weird place to draw the line. Who had the biggest fall from grace in history? Jimmy Savile. Let me paint a picture. Here is the ultimate working class boy made good. He worked as a coal miner during the Second World War. Once that was over, he tried a number of things. He was a professional wrestler for a while. He was a pioneer DJ, essentially inventing the job, and he hosted a primetime TV show well into his 70s with the premise of fulfilling outlandish dreams for kids. In his spare time, he worked as a volunteer porter at his local hospital and ran marathons, raising millions of pounds for charities. And while he may have been a bit eccentric, he was widely regarded as a national treasure. That is until a couple of years after he died. Turns out Jimmy had a thing for young girls. Quite a thing. As it happens, he made Bill Cosby look like the angel Gabriel. He'd got away with it precisely because of his public persona. He successfully persuaded almost all his victims that nobody would ever believe them. What's a minor confession you'd like to make today? I was staying in a hotel and brought a girl back. She said she was going to freshen up and gave me a wink. I heard the tap come on and thought she was planning on wrestling in the shower, so I burst in. She was having a shit and had turned on the tap to cover the noise. What's the creepiest or most unexplained thing you've seen in broad daylight? In the 80s, my dad was in the Peace Corps and lived in Sierra Leone for 3 years. He had a motorcycle and would ride around the roads when he had free time. One day he's riding a dirt road that snakes around a small mountainside or hillside past some construction works. About half a mile after the roadwork, he sees a man on the side of this dirt road on the mountain just laughing his butt off, and he was blue. Not like painted blue, but blue. At first my dad rode on, thinking nothing of it. And then it sunk in. That he saw a blue dude sitting on the side of a dirt road laughing wildly. He turned around and rode back to where he saw the blue dude, and there was nothing there. He kept retracing his path beyond the roadwork and never saw the blue guy again. Later that day he went back to the village he was living in at the time and told the locals about what he had seen. The locals all laughed and said, "No, you didn't. White men can't see devils." As a teenager, what was the worst thing your parents ever walked in on you doing? I don't know why I did it. But I was 14 and kinda curious. It was late. I didn't think anybody was gonna come down my hallway, so I left my door wide open. I knelt down to the ground, stuck my tongue out, placed it on the wall, and proceeded to lick the wall from the bottom to as high as I could go standing up. I looked to my left and my dad was just standing there with a big ass smile on his face. He yells out to my mom, "Yo, this weird ass kid is licking the wall." I still don't understand why I had the urge to do that. That was a weird night. What's your secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out? I run a cake business. I charge people hundreds for wedding cakes. Every last one is made using Pillsbury cake mix I buy for $1 a box at Walmart. I suck at baking. Every time I've ever tried to make a cake from scratch, it sucked. But baking is like my whole deal. My friends all call me the cake girl. It's like my whole life is Elijah. People compliment my cakes all the time, telling me it's so much better than box mix cake. Well, guess what? For $1 they too can make a cake just as delicious. I love cake decorating. I make all of the frostings and fondant from scratch. I just hate baking fucking cakes. No one knows about this except my husband. Even my best friends think I fucking slave over the oven mixing and baking these damn cakes. I have been doing this for years. If anyone knew, my business and reputation would be in the toilet for sure. What's the weirdest sub you've come across during your time on Reddit? The Truman Plan. Years ago on Reddit there was an active private sub where everyone followed the same randomly picked Redditor and messed with them. We had discussions about their favorite things based on their post history and made scenarios where we would interact with them to cause them to question their sanity. Every post or comment was scoured for the best ammunition to mess with them. We even found their favorite band and made a fake subreddit where we boosted the member count to 50,000 to look authentic. They did a lot to mess with him there, including making him think there was a fake song he'd never heard. We even went so far as to faking an Ask Me Anything with a band member who argued with Truman about said song. The Truman even revealed he might get a tattoo of the subreddit sidebar image, which concerned everyone as we had been subtly fading Jim Carrey's face into the cover. This was only a fragment done to this person. You suddenly travel back 100,000 years to a cave that will eventually be discovered by archaeologists. What do you write on the wall to mess with them? A model of our solar system with an arrow pointing to Pluto saying the key. Find the exact person who will discover said cave, figure out their address, write their address with a specific date, watch them freak out all day. A bunch of stick figure guys with spears, running away from a flying saucer that's shooting lasers at them.